All right, guys, I don't like prying into your financial money situations like privately, but the club's really struggling and only one of you's accepted a wage drop. And it's Mark, and it's like saving us $20 a week. So it's not helping that much. Can some of you think about the greater good here? Because, I would like to keep you here, but I can't renew any contracts at the moment, okay? I know it's not your fault, it's upper management, but still, it'd be really nice if some of you could take a pay cut. I'm really disappointed, so you better not lose in the semis or the final of the Chatham Cup coming up, okay? You better win trophies if we're going to be paying you that much money.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 123 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both the All Whites and Cashmere Technical. I hope you're doing well, and coming up in today's episode, going to try and make our way through the last couple of rounds here of the Chatham Cup and pick it up yet again here at Cashmere Tech. First up, big tie in the semi-finals are away at Western Suburbs, and hopefully we can win that and make our way through to the finals. So looking forward to that coming up in today's episode. Then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But at the end of last week, we played the OFC Nations Cup final with the All Whites. In the end, picked up a very comfortable 8-0 win over New Caledonia. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Unfortunately, all those wins, and we're actually further down the world rankings these days in 32nd. That's a bit disappointing. Still below Senegal. Hopefully we can make up for that in tomorrow's episode. But since then, it has been about life at Cashmere Technical, because we've had a lot of games to get through until we found something interesting in the last couple of rounds here of the Chatham Cup. So what we've been doing off the back of those games, which I think came around about mid-June. I think I actually played Wainua Yamada in a Chatham Cup game just before the grand final of that OFC Nations Cup. We picked up a 7-0 win over them, then 8-2 over Stokes Valley. Off the back of that, a couple of Southern League games and thumped some teams pretty comfortably. 4-0 over Parklands United, 10-1 over Ferrymead Bays in a local derby. They're not very good this season. Are our rivals that one quite good in front of their home fans? Unfortunately, did give away a penalty late. Otherwise, could have been 10-0, and then 6-1 over Christchurch United before we took on Tawa in the fourth round of the Chatham Cup. Unfortunately, no Jason Pine playing for them these days. Otherwise, might have came back for that game and a bus trip. But a bit of a scratchy performance there, only winning that 3-0 before a 6-0 win over the Dunedin City Royals before a big break before we came back for the quarterfinals of the Chatham Cup. While that was going on, actually had the Olympics in the save. I'll update you on that shortly, but we did play Upper Hutt in the quarterfinals and picked up a 3-0 win. And only a couple of days off the back of that is when we are back for the semi-final against Western Suburbs. If we win this, we'll then go forward to whenever the final is and play that, unless we take on Havelock North in the National League Championship before that final, because it's supposed to be after the last game of the Southern League season. But as we know from this save, it usually gets pushed back until that last game before the next international window in September with the All Whites. So we are still unbeaten domestically here this season at Cashmere Tech. Of course, technically that is still the case, but no perfect season this time, with a semi-final draw in that first leg against Western Suburbs in the Champions League. Of course, did beat them away from home in the second leg. Quite important considering what's coming up here in this semi-final. But in terms of the overall National League, going down to the Southern League quickly, we are already the champions, 14 points clear of Nelson Suburbs, Mosgiel and Christchurch United, not too far behind, and those three teams really are fighting for that second qualifying spot. And as you can see too, very good goal differential for us here at Cashmere Tech, obviously helped out by that big win over Ferrymead Bays. Now the Central League, that's quite even, but both Havelock North and Western Suburbs, they have secured their place in the National League Championship. Bit of a battle there for that last qualifying spot. A couple of teams who could make their way into that, and up to the Northern League. Auckland City are on top, but to be fair, actually have lost quite a few games this season. As you can see, they've won a few, but also lost quite a few in 6. They're just on top. Manukau, Melville and Hamilton not too far behind. And to be fair, there's not much splitting all the teams in that league. So the Northern League is pretty even. Those teams actually went pretty poorly in the National League Championship last year. If we make our way through the final, we can come back and see if that might be the case again, because we'll definitely get a couple of games in before we play that Chatham Cup final. And also, as I said, have had the Olympics with the under-23s. And here are all the groups. Now, unfortunately, the New Zealand team finished bottom of their group. We picked up a draw against Mexico after George McDonald got a red card and then lost to France and Nigeria. So that's one of the worst performances from our under-23s for a fair while. Unfortunately, Australia, same amount of points, but because of goal differential, they came third in their group, but still didn't make their way into the knockouts. And in case you're wondering, quarterfinals, there's who won those. There's the semi-finals, the third and fourth place playoff that was won by Denmark, and the winners of the Olympics, that was Germany 1-0 in Berlin. They pick up a win in their home games in 2036. That's what's been going on off the back of the episode at the end of last week. And also, we've been trying to sort out the wage issues here at Cashmere Tech, because of course, that got reduced big time before that last episode at the end of last week. One of the reasons that we had to sell Ryan Billingsley. Did try and get some players to accept some better terms for us here at Cashmere Tech, but only one accepted, and that, if we make our way right down near the bottom of the paid players, was Mark Anderson. He took a pay cut of £20 a week, so that was nice of him, but that didn't help us out too much, so we had to get rid of another player. Thankfully, there was one spare in our B team, and once we have a look at the fees here, because it's going to be the easiest way to find it, it was Pascal Ponzi. He has made his way over to Sydney Olympic. His contract was expiring at the end of this season, so just thought, seeing as he was in the B team and on 1.2k a week, we'd let go of him early. And for him, we got a fee of £1,500. Not too much, but just felt like it would be a good idea to get an extra wage off of the books. We are still over it, but these days only by about £3,000, which is a lot better than the £7,000 to £8,000 it was at the end of last week. So that's what's been going on here at Cashmere Tech, and it is time to have a look at what's been going on in the Chatham Cup. Now, I thought that Auckland City would be making their way through the semi-finals of this competition, considering they were taking on Waiheke in the quarterfinals when I did the intro for this, but as it turns out, that's not the case. Wellington Olympic will take on Waiheke, and that's because there was a big upset in the quarters. They got thumped Auckland City 4-1 by Waiheke. And a quick look at how they're doing in the Northern League. They are down in 10th, just outside of the relegation zone. So that kind of shows how ropey Auckland City are at the moment. Do think they're not as strong as they have been a couple of years ago in the save. Usually the second best team these days. I think the Central League might be a bit stronger than this Northern League, but that was a big upset. Also, the other results from the quarters, of course, we won against Upper Hutt, as you saw earlier, 3-0. Western Suburbs 5-0 over Timaru Old Boys, as you'd expect. In Wellington Olympic, a little bit closer for those guys, and a 1-0 win over a decent Manurewa team. So that's what's set up here, these semi-finals. You'd think the winner of this game that we're about to play up at Western Suburbs will be pretty strong favourites going in to that Chatham Cup final. Western Suburbs know all about these guys, played them earlier this season in the Champions League semis, and also, of course, beat them in the National League Championship Grand Final last season. In terms of our squad going into the semi, unfortunately, due to a couple of injuries, Max Caputo sprained knee ligaments. He is out for 3 to 6 weeks, so it does mean currently Chris Greenidge is our backup central attacking midfielder. Maida Hotman de Villiers will be covering left wing instead of him. And also Asana Diop, not too far away, should be back for the final if we make it that far, but he's got sprained wrist ligaments, is out for 1 to 2 more days. So it does mean currently that we are going between either Jack Honey or Colozo at left back, who is a young Colombian, I believe, who we have brought up from our B team. And in fact, he is Ecuadorian, not Colombian, but decent player on a non-contract. Still got a couple of left back options, thankfully, that we can use despite that Diop injury, but otherwise we're at full strength going in to the semi, and hopefully can pick up a win up in Porirua as per usual and make our way through to another Chatham Cup final. And here are the team sheets for the semi-final of the Chatham Cup, probably the big semi as well. Looking at the other side of the draw, there are Western Suburbs 4-3-3, quite a few names we're familiar with from the last couple of meetings in the Champions League. And of course, last season's grand final, just one change to our usual best 11. Caruso at left back with that injury to Diop. Hopefully can pick up a win and go a step closer to another Chatham Cup. And it hasn't taken long for the first highlight of this game, just 5 minutes in here in the rain in Wellington, no doubt the wind as well. And I've thrown down our right-hand side, Debenham will get that one back. Harrison Debenham, definitely the best youth intake player we've had here so far at Cashmere Tech, and playing like it too. He's been superb since we brought him in from that intake a couple of years ago, but just keeping the ball here, albeit amongst our defence. Anderson back to Kanate, who should shortly be eligible for the All Whites as a New Zealander. Nice ball forward there though from Ciardiello for Ezra Zoomers, who was onside in the Australian. Puts that one away top right corner past Chronopoulos, who also these days is an All Whites option, but isn't that good. So don't expect to see him in an All Whites shirt unless we're really struggling for goalkeepers. But it's a really nice ball that from Ciardiello Zoomers with a good run there. In behind the defence, stays onside. They'll just see from this angle how close it was. And indeed, it's a very well-timed run. The Australian puts it away to give us an early 1-0 lead. And we have to wait until all the way up to the half-hour mark for the next highlight of this game. And it is here a goal kick. They pump it deep there to Western Suburbs through Chronopoulos. I think Caruso won that in the air. Then Anderson takes the ball to get that ball back. Now Clark trips over a teammate there, and Villarreal can get that one back for Western Suburbs. It's a bit of a weird highlight. Now Moller makes his way forward. He picks out Thomas inside the box. Good tackle that from Kanadi, but unfortunately, it's a penalty. That was a very weird highlight. How we lost that ball down our left-hand side, and unfortunately, Western Suburbs with their first attack of the game, Villarreal. Cifuentes went the right way, but unfortunately goes through his hands, and Villarreal, with his 1 All Whites cap, will put that one away. Bit of a strange highlight. Been a quiet game so far. That was Western Suburbs' first attack. Unfortunately, they score a goal from the spot to make it 1-1. Albeit only a few minutes off the back of that goal that Western Suburbs scored. Now we're down the other end here for a front of our own, albeit waiting for Pico to make his way off the field. He's taking his time to do so, and eventually will. But a throw for us here. Can we score? Well, they're down to 10 men. Good chance as well. Khaled pinches that one off of the shot from Ciardiello, who was looking for the top right corner, but unfortunately puts it over the bar. Pretty bad miss that one, unfortunately, and it looks like going to be locked up at 1-1 at half-time. Definitely the team on the front foot, albeit not by a lot. Obviously, Western Suburbs, their one shot on target was from the spot. Otherwise, we've been all over them. Now, Debenham on a yellow card, and we need, I believe, to bring on Clout if we're going to take off Debenham. So I think that might be what we do here at half-time. Zoomers is going all right, but we need to bring on Clout to make sure that we can take off Debenham on that yellow card, because he is struggling as well on a 6.3. Probably a good idea to pull him, even though that's a bit harsh on Ezra Zoomers, but going pretty well. But unfortunately, that dodgy highlight, which led to the penalty, does mean it's locked up at 1-1. And 10 minutes into the second half, we get the first highlight of it here, and it is a free kick here, and Chronopoulos will take it. Hopefully, this doesn't go the same way as that highlight earlier in the first half, where they did get a penalty. Thankfully, this time, win it in there and keep holding. It's a nice ball forward there to Ciardiello. Takes that one in behind and puts it past Chronopoulos. That was a pretty good finish from Ciardiello, but he's definitely doing no favours if he does want to call up to the All Whites, especially once Alex Paulson retires, and also probably Henry Gray around the same time. We really going to need some goalkeepers soon to come through in this save. But Ciardiello, nice ball through to him there from Sam Clark, and puts it away, and thankfully we're back in front 2-1 with just over a half hour left. And just about to make our way into the last 20 minutes of this game at the 69-minute mark there, and we try and clear our lines, but unfortunately Western Suburbs do get back on the ball. Let's see what happens from this highlight. Caruso on a 6.5 at left back is down to a red heart, so I dare say off the back of this highlight we'll bring on Jack Honey in his place to shore up that defence for the last little patch of this game to make sure we hold on to our 1-goal lead. Hopefully get a chance to extend a little bit. So far, Western Suburbs keeping the ball quite nicely from this highlight. Bit of a double team there down that right-hand side on the 69-minute mark, because of course it is, but unfortunately don't win the ball, and Coleman gets in behind. Thankfully, decent save there from Cifuentes to put it over the crossbar. Off the back of that, we'll make that sub Honey for Caruso. Hopefully, that might just make sure we don't see this corner and it won't be a chance for Western Suburbs. Let's see off the back of that sub, and thankfully it does cut out that highlight. About 15 minutes left and still 2-1. In fact, before we can wrap things up, there's a goal kick to Western Suburbs. Thankfully, Honey wins that down to Ciardiello. Pico with a tackle. He's recovered from that injury late in the first half, but thankfully keep hold of the ball. Now it's back to Ciardiello. Makes his way inside the box. Squeeze that one nicely for Clout, but unfortunately, good block on that one from Devlin, because it did look like that one could have been Chronopoulos from close range, but unfortunately still 2-1, still looking for a cushion goal here in the second half. Clout will take the corner. They clear it somewhat, but now Khaled back on the ball for us here, plays it in for Sam Clark, does like a long range wieldy. It goes in there to Hughes. Poor touch from him though, and Western Suburbs, they can clear their lines. Still 2-1 with 10 minutes left. And just about to make our way into the last 5 minutes of this game, still only up by a goal, so I think now it's time for us here to maybe put our right wing back onto support and also just start to time waste a little bit, just make sure here that hopefully Western Suburbs don't get an extra chance. Also distribute to fullbacks, but slow the pace down. We're making our way out from back, and let's see if anything else happens late on in this game. And in fact, right off the back of that, there is a corner. Clout puts this one far post. Kanade leaps like a salmon and puts it home, and that should make sure those changes definitely keep us holding on here to a lead, because now we have a cushion goal in Kanate, who of course gave away the penalty in the first half. We'll put this one away. Too big, too strong, and puts that one just inside that near post from this camera angle to make it 3-1, albeit Western Suburbs might get a chance to strike back immediately. There's a highlight from the restart. Devlin plays it forward to Cogman, and now it goes back there to Mali Luluwai. Moller plays that one out there for Pico. Nice ball into the mix of Kanate with a missed header. Thomas looks to square that one. Thankfully, I think the wrong Western Suburbs player there actually got in the way of that ball instead of the guy who was running onto it, so we can clear our lines. They get a shot off, but thankfully goes well over the crossbar in the end. That one not too dangerous, as we're about to make our way into 4 minutes of added time. Definitely being the better team in this game. Just that penalty made things a bit interesting, but thankfully 2 goals in the second half there through Kanate as well as Ciardiello. It's that early goal from Ezra Zumas, and of course they did pull one back, Western Suburbs, through a Villarreal penalty, but thankfully we pick up a 3-1 win. I think that now makes it 14 wins in a row over Western Suburbs, because apparently that also includes the Champions League over 2 leagues, even though one of those was a draw. But we're going through the Chatham Cup final. Let's just see who that will be against. And as you might expect, it is Wellington Olympic. It was a late first half penalty, but they put it away to knock out the Giant Killers in Waiheke United. So it's another Central League team we'll be coming back to take on in the Chatham Cup final in Olympic. But before then, got a few games to play before we make our way through that final. So yet another win for us there over Western Suburbs. We've made our way through now to the Stella National League Championship, and also finished off the Southern League season. As you can see on screen, we are still doing a good job domestically. Another absolute thrashing there of Ferrymead Bays, this time 12-0. That was pretty good a week off the back of that Chatham Cup semi. Then things got a bit tighter, a 5-2 win over Otago Uni. We actually beat us in the second half of that game, but thankfully good first half, including 4 goals from Mitchell Clout there, playing as a left winger, and to finish things off the National League Championship, a 4-0 win over Mosgiel. So here's what happened in all the sub-leagues. First up, we've got the Southern League here, obviously unbeaten. We were top of the table, and that goal differential, absolutely ridiculous, 73, only conceding 4 goals in 14 games. Christchurch United just did enough to overtake Nelson Suburbs, who picked up all sorts of draws late on in their season, so they finished 1 point behind Christchurch United to make their way through to the National League Championship. And obviously, Ferrymead Bays, we thrashed them a couple of times. Our local rivals are now down in the second tier in the South Island, going up to the Central League, and Western Suburbs did just make the most of Havelock North, just taking the eye off the ball a little bit off back of securing a spot in the National League Championship, and they take out that Central League title by 2 points. Big gap back to the best of the rest. That was Wellington Olympic, our opposition in this Chatham Cup final. They just get there over both Waterside Corey and Miramar Rangers, and Napier Marist. They are relegated to the second tier of the Central League. In the Northern League, in the end, Auckland City got their act into gear late on in the season, still only 6 losses. As you can see, their late season form was quite good, but look at that fight for those last couple of qualifying spots, all the way between 2nd and 9th. Not much separating those teams, but it was Melville, Manukau, and Western Springs who do go through, and Takapuna and Eastern Suburbs they get relegated down to the second tier of the Northern Leagues. That's what's happened in each of the leagues here in New Zealand before the National League Championship. And as you might have spotted, we've got off to a good start in that as well. First up, a game which can be tricky. The Phoenix Reserves, they've beaten us a few times in the save. Thankfully this time, picked up a 3-0 win. Off the back of that, took out Manukau and a 4-0 win at home before rotating heavily against Christchurch United to make sure their big guns were going to be fit for this Chatham Cup final, and thankfully still picked up a 4-0 win. So 3 pretty good wins to start off the National League Championship, and that does mean that we are top of the table, linked with Auckland City, Western Suburbs, not too far behind. They did just drop some points on that most recent match day with a draw against the Phoenix Reserves, and already a bit of a big gap back to the likes of Western Springs and Havelock North. So that's what's happened early stages of the National League Championship. Wellington Olympic so far with 0 points. So based on that, you'd like to think this is a team that we can beat in this final. They've lost to Melville, Havelock North and Western Springs. So really, we should do a job over them here in this Chatham Cup final, even though it is up at Wakefield Park, and especially because one of their key players in Dominic Lee is out with an injury, and he's gone for 2 to 5 more weeks with a broken toe. So one of the better players there from Olympic, as you can see through that goal scoring record, 221 appearances, 153 goals. That's a big miss there for Olympic. This should be a team that we can beat, as is always the case here at Cashmere Technical, especially because we do have back Asana Diop from that injury. So we do have a full strength squad to select from for this final, albeit Sam Clark is on a bit of a heavy workload, but hopefully a chance for us here to pick up yet another Chatham Cup trophy. And here are the team sheets for this season's Chatham Cup final here in New Zealand. There are Wellington Olympic, as you saw before, coming to this one in some pretty poor form, just like Western Suburbs. They are going with a 4-3-3. There we are. We've got Turner in for Clark because he is on a heavy workload, but everything else is full strength. Diop is back there at left back. Hopefully, yet another Chatham Cup here for Cashmere Tech. And just past the 10-minute mark, we have the first highlight here of this Chatham Cup final as Wellington Olympic in the all blue with a free kick just on the wrong side of halfway. Thankfully, poor pass there though, and we get that one back through Kanate, and that eventually goes out to Debenham. Now, Khaled lets that one run through. It's a bit of a poor touch and a bit of aerial ping pong here in this first highlight, but thankfully, eventually, the ball makes its way out there to Khaled down our right-hand side, squares that nicely for Ezra Zoomers, who puts it away, but it won't be his 20th for the season because he's offside, an early chance, can't quite take it, still in the law. And going forward about 10 minutes off the back of that offside goal, and now is a throw-in for us here inside the final third. So far, this game has been very quiet, much like the Western Suburbs game, but so far, no goals, because we did get a nice early one there in that semi-final that you have just seen. A lot of games I've played since then, but thankfully things still going quite well for us here at Cashmere Tech, but still well over the wage budget. Now, nice ball forward there for Cifuentes, but Hall Jones there with a good tackle to take that one off of him, but thankfully a long clearance, and we get the ball back. Diop up there to Cifuentes, back to Turner, and now to Anderson. Evans plays that one across to Kanate, just waiting for the paperwork to come through now before he can become an option for the All Whites. We'll see if he might be able to sneak his way into the All White squad for the upcoming international window. Now, Ciardiello, rather fortunately, kept that ball down the left-hand side. Did look like there might be a bit of a loose touch in amongst all that, but thankfully, kept hold of the ball, squares it, and Janssen just pops up as per usual with a goal in a big game to head that one home and give us a 1-0 lead. As you can see there, for the right back for Olympic, had a good chance there to win that ball off us. Thankfully, that didn't happen. Ciardiello could continue his run, and Janssen puts it away to make it 1-0. In fact, right back of that, another highlight here might be a chance for Olympic to grab an instant equaliser. They keep the ball fairly well here, albeit deep inside their half, and now play it back there to Thomas in goal. Takes his time before launching this one down the right-hand side, but that really poor pass. No one home for them. Straight to Diop. Now the Ciardiello cuts inside, ball over the top. That'll pick out Khaled. Just takes his time at the edge of the box. Squares that one for Lorenzo Janssen. Quick fire double for our Australian central attacking midfielder. He loves a goal in a big game, usually in the Champions League. This time, the Chatham Cup final is what he is going to show up for, and that makes it 2-0. In very quick succession, nice ball there from Ciardiello out to Khaled and squares it for Janssen, who puts it away. Bottom left corner, quick fire double to make it 2-0 Cashmere. And with just over 10 minutes left here in the first half, yet again we're on the attack looking for one more goal to probably put this game to bed, and we're going far post here. A header to Diallo, tries to put that one across the face of goal, but unfortunately can't quite hit the target, but still well and truly on the front foot with a 2-0 lead. And just making our way into 2 minutes here of added time in this Chatham Cup final, no highlights. It was a pretty quiet first half, but thankfully quick fire double there around the 20-minute mark. Both goals to Lorenzo Janssen does mean we do have a cushion goal lead here at halftime in the Chatham Cup final. So far, Wellington Olympic have done absolutely nothing, and I don't think any changes are needed because most players out there on some decent ratings. So I think we'll just tell the guys going well, let's keep it up for the second half of this final with a 2-0 lead. And we might continue to be on the front foot here in the second half because a very early throw-in for us here inside the final third. And we put that one far post. Khalid heads it down for Zuma's great chance, but Thomas comes up with a good save. That goal could have well and truly put this game to bed, but now a chance for us here from set piece, and Diop puts this one near post, but unfortunately Nathan Palmer, formerly of AFC Auckland, will head that one away, albeit Diop with a chance there to square it, takes a deflection, another chance for us here from set piece. Lots of early pressure here as we look to put this one to bed nice and early in the second half. Diop puts that one a bit deeper, but no one's home, and Olympic can clear their lines, still 2-0 in front. And just coming to the hour mark in this game, and a couple of players out there struggling, in particular Harrison Debenham yet again, which is a bit weird. So because of that, you have to make the same change we made last game. Zooms will come off this time, not going too well himself, but Clout has to come on to keep our under 20 player quota up, and that means that Isaac Hughes can come on for Debenham, still 2-0 with 25 minutes left. And we're just about to make our way into the last 15 minutes of this game. No highlights on the back of those early chances we did have here in the second half. We're going to take off Louis Evans, is sitting on a yellow card, so we'll just play things safe with him. Do think we're well in control of this game stats-wise. Olympic up to absolutely nothing. Still 2-0, really should got another goal to put this game to bed, but unfortunately that hasn't quite been the case. Hopefully that won't come back to bite us, but time is definitely running out here on the home team as we make our way into 4 minutes of added time off the back of this game, an international window. Don't have to worry too much about those red hearts, and we pick up the Chatham Cup yet again here at Cashmere Technical off the back of a couple of wins over Central League teams. Olympic definitely worse than Western Suburbs based on that league table we saw before from the completion of the Central League season, but they put up a decent fight, albeit more defensively than attacking wise. They did next to nothing, but in the end it was pretty comfy. Quick fire double for Lorenzo Janssen halfway through the first half, and that makes it yet another Chatham Cup here at Cashmere Tech off the back of a 2-0 win over Wellington Olympic in the final. So yet another Chatham Cup for us here at Cashmere Tech off the back of that 2-0 win over Wellington Olympic. Definitely could have been more comfortable. We had 3 XG, but unfortunately couldn't quite put them to bed, but in the end they did pretty much nothing on attack, and we pick up the Chatham Cup yet again. That makes it 5 seasons in a row here for us at Cashmere Tech. A bit of money as well, which is very useful considering financial situation here at the club. Not very good, but going back to the inbox, that does now make it 11 Chatham Cups here, and to be fair, most of them have come since we have joined them in this save. The board's nice and pleased. Apparently Khalid got man of the match from that final, and there is the review. The biggest overachievers, as you'd expect, making the quarters, Timaru Old Boys, and apparently biggest underachievers, Manukau United. But that is a good start to the domestic season here at Cashmere Tech, albeit did win the Charity Cup earlier this season, but no one really cares about that. We pick up the Chatham Cup off the back of also lifting the Southern League. There's one more trophy to complete the full set here this season, and that is the National League Championship. But that will do it for today's episode. A couple of good wins there over the Wellington-based teams to pick up the Chatham Cup. If you enjoyed that one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Now tomorrow we're actually coming back only a few days off the back of this game because there's an international window that is not OFC World Cup qualifying, the only one we'll have for a fair while here with the All Whites, and we are looking to finally get above Senegal on the world rankings. We beat them 5-0 last time. Somehow they are still above us off the back of being Montenegro, 101st in the world, and then a couple of wins over Malawi, 167th. I seriously don't get these world rankings, but hopefully can put another pounding there on Senegal and go above them in the world rankings. And also, in a game that might be a bit fresher, we'll take on Egypt. Those guys up in 24th. They do look like a team we can beat if at our best. Hopefully can pick up a couple of wins, and that might see us finally get up above them in Senegal, those frauds on the world rankings. So until tomorrow for some All Whites action, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.